I'm Jared Davis, President and CTO at Northern RNA. I've been in the mRNA field for most of my career, even doing my PhD and postdoc in mRNA structure function. At Northern RNA, we make cap analogs, and the cap analog is required for translation and recognition by EIF4E. And what we found is that in the cap analogs that we make, as well as all the commercial cap analogs out there, there's an impurity that wasn't known before that won't be recognized by EIF4E and may be detrimental to the mRNA expression, as well as may have toxicology implications. The impurity itself is a aldehyde on the 7-methyl-G, ring opening of the 7-methyl-G that forms this aldehyde. The aldehyde is a highly reactive group. It could react with lipids, it could react with other things in the cell. It's known that mRNA lipid adducts are common in many of the products that are the mRNA products. And we think that this impurity may be one of the causes of that mRNA lipid adduct. So at Northern RNA, we've developed advanced analytics so that we can look and we can differentiate this impurity. So most of our competitors, as well as ourselves, previously when we were looking for impurities in the cap analog, we didn't see it. This co-eluted with the main peak, and so we weren't actually separating it out. And so what we've done is we've looked at several different lots of cap, commercially available cap, and when we use the old methods, it shows 98 to 99% purity, whereas with our new method, we see anywhere from 90 to 95% purity. So we're definitely able to see this impurity now where we weren't before. And here's an example of where we're seeing this impurity. Again, it elutes very closely to the main peak, but we're getting good baseline separation. So the impurity itself occurs in slightly basic or alkaline conditions. And so we control the processes to make sure that we don't have any alkaline conditions, and in our reactions and in our purification, and we're testing for it at the end to make sure that we stay below 1 or 2% of the impurity. And again, just to make sure that we have tight control. So when we looked at this, the impurity itself, and we saw this ring opening, we wanted to test to see, okay, what does this do in vivo? We took several different impurity level, mRNAs with different impurity levels from 25 to 5%. And what we saw is a general trend in lower expression, as you would expect, because this, again, shouldn't be recognized by EIF4E. We also want to, in the future, start looking at these lipid adducts with mRNA and are interested to see what the long-term impact might be. And to look and see, is this forming not only on the cap analog, but can you form these impurities when you're making your mRNA? Do you form these impurities in the IVT? Do you form these impurities when you're encapsulating the mRNA? Because in the IVT, you're at slightly basic conditions, usually 7, 8. But again, we saw this coming up at pH 8, so it's very close. And when you form your LNP, that often can be 8 or greater than 8 that you go through. And at those pHs, we definitely would see this impurity coming up. So we want to start looking at that in the future and want to have other groups start looking at that to see what the long-term impacts could be of this impurity and whether it's just the cap or in the mRNA itself.